What is going on, everybody? Welcome in. It's Monday, and it's Lineman Life Live here. I'm your observing Lineman Uche. Nwaneri here with my co-host, JB, Justin Blaylock.
What's happening?
Another wild weekend in the NFL. Week 4, come and gone. Not without its controversy, obviously, but we'll get into that. We'll get into the scores here in today's show. We'll also talk about the Antonio Brown sighting, which is sure to be something that we'll have fun talking about because he's up to more no good shit. I mean, hey, you know, it's like Michael Irvin said, my CTE's acting up. But also we will talk about Brittney Griner, her situation. She has an appeal coming up this month for her 9-year sentence that she got in Russia for having a little bit of a vape pen or a little bit of a weed pen. So we'll talk about that as well. But it is week 4. Make sure you hit the like button on this live stream. If you're new to the channel, subscribe if you haven't already done so. So the NFL concussion protocol. That's something that is clearly become a huge issue in the NFL. We've got a lot of people who doubt the effectiveness of it at this point. I think that we can all at least want to get a little bit more transparency from the PA and the NFL in regards to, how they come to the decisions they come to when they put this stuff together. Obviously, the CBA, these things are agreed on. But we have another player who was allowed to return to a game after being concussed. And that, obviously is not a good thing. That's not something that the NFL needs at this moment. Cameron Brate, tight end for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we'll look at the play here. But this is in the second quarter. Says, here's the Cameron Brate hit in the second quarter. He played the entire drive after that, getting targeted a few times before entering concussion protocol and getting knocked out of the game for good. Now, look, you got to understand that you can be concussed, quite easily. It doesn't have to be a hard hit for you to get concussed. But, when it happens, obviously there's a number of different things that the NFL does to try and test, to make sure that the player is, to confirm whether they're concussed or to make sure that they're not. And as we look at this play here, we'll then look at the situation as it played out afterwards, because there are people who were actually nearby who have come out and spoken out about the situation. Let's look at the video here. Cameron Brate in the second quarter against Kansas City Chiefs and the hit that he took. So when a guy lays there like that, and he's just kind of like, I don't know what you want. I don't know what you call with the way that you're moving there. He's just kind of like wreathing on the ground, kind of not squirming, but just kind of slowly like maneuvering on the ground like that. Look at that. That would be my first thought. The way he got up is that he might be concussed. Now,
and this is what I didn't see. Or I don't think they showed that in the game when he ran into the official.
Yeah, and he ran into an official. Yeah, I couldn't tell if he ran into him or if I couldn't tell if he ran into him or if the official was just kind of like moving out of the way for him. But it looks like he may have run into him. But just the way he got up, that's too. Like if you're hurt, if you're injured, like ribs or, the wind knocked out of you or anything of that nature, you don't get up. You usually stay down or you like get on your knees and you begin to gather yourself.
Gather your shit together.
Yeah. Right here, he kind of slowly meanders into standing up, very like slow motion like. And then he's jogging and he jogs into the back of. Yeah, he jogged into the back of the referee. So look, that right there in and of itself, this isn't anything extraordinary when you're talking about, a player being, hurt on a play, and then he gets up slowly, goes to the sideline. Now the problem there after that fact is that when he got to the sideline and they asked him what's wrong, he said it was a shoulder.
Man.
Which I can't understand. How does a player, how do the staff who are supposedly, keeping an eye on things on the field, how do the spotters that the NFL supposedly has in the stadium who are supposed to be looking specifically for players in that situation, how do all these systems that are supposed to create structure and give, protection to the players continue to fail in situations where all it takes is the tight end saying, no, it's my shoulder. And then, it's nothing. It's like, all right, go back in. He went back into the game on that series because he said it was his shoulder.
Yeah.
Then he started to exhibit concussion symptoms at halftime. So, of course, at halftime, he's probably nauseous, probably vision's fucked up.
Yeah. I'm sure he's all fucked
dizzy, head hurts. His equilibrium's a little bit off. And he goes to a training staff member and says, "Yo, I think I'm hurt." Which, that's if that's the case, and I don't know how it played out, but I'm just assuming based on what we have here in information, he did go off to the sideline and said his shoulder was hurt. But how do you allow him to make that decision that it's his shoulder and not his head? If you saw what happened, if you saw how slow he got off the field, he used his arms to get off the ground. Can't be a shoulder. You know what I mean?
That same shoulder you just pushed off with.
Oh my God.
This is really difficult. Because as a civilian fan now, I want to be able to take people at their word, but honestly, he very well might not have known that he was concussed. It sounds like, as soon as he realized what was really going on, he went and got someone's attention. So I'm really not sure how much scientific observation, they're going to be able to use on this kind of stuff. It has to be something even more, primitive. It's like, damn, that guy's fucked up. Let's go see if he has a concussion. Basically what my mom would do. If she's in the stands, she's not going to wait and see, oh, this is gross motor, incapacitation. Nah, she don't give a fuck about all that. My baby just got hit, and he doesn't look right. I'm going down there.
I don't understand how the player can, if you have a suspicion of a concussion, which we don't know exactly if they did, but if you have a suspicion, the player can't overwrite that suspicion. The player can't override that. That has to be a decision made by, I guess, the unaffiliated neuro consultant. I guess.
But if you phrase the question right, you don't have to know. It's just willful ignorance. Hey, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
Hey, is your head hurt? No, you say, what's up? What's going on? My shoulder. Okay. Let's get some ice on that
thing.
Right.
Get some ice on. Yeah, 6 a.m. tomorrow. You be there training for a treatment.
But no, you got to be like, crazy, hey, right? Does your head hurt? Fuck all that other stuff.
Yeah, they're not getting to the root issue here. Now, he did come out of the game. That's the important part. He came out. He's put in the concussion protocol. But also, there was somebody on the sideline who actually was within range, and he has a lot to say about the situation, and that man is Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy, former head coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'll pull up this article here for us to look at. But Tony Dungy says that the Bucs, they screwed up on this. So it says here, broken system. Ex-coach fumes after Bucs tight end plays with a concussion. Came just a week after concussion experts raged at the Miami Dolphins for seemingly putting Tua Tagovailoa in harm's way. An ex-Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach has excoriated his former NFL franchise for sending a player back onto the field on Sunday with a concussion, the second such fumble in recent days. Now, that is the part that is the NFL itself is going to be massively concerned about. This is all very bad PR for the NFL. Very bad image. It gives a very bad image to the NFL, which, I mean, look, the NFL is America's pastime. Football is America's pastime. This isn't going to destroy them right now, but you let these things continue to happen, and concussions very well can be the downfall of football. It very well can be. Like, I think that at the right time, with the right people in power, football could be made illegal. It could be outlawed at some point in our history. I don't know if that's in our lifetimes, but it could happen because it's a dangerous sport. And at what point do the risks forego the money? Because, hey, I don't know that anybody has enough money to make their brain work right if you have severe CTE. There's nobody who has enough money to fix that. But let's keep going.
Some cats are here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Some cats just here for a good time. They're not here forever.
And there will be a never-ending supply of those.
Yeah, that's true too. But let's we'll jump into it some more. Let's get through this article. It says let's see here. Just a week after his concussion. Okay, we already went through that. Bucks tight end Cameron Brate slammed into receiver Chris Godwin and hit his head on the turf shortly before halftime of Sunday night's game against Kansas City Chiefs. Brate was shaken up and slow to get up, NBC Mike Tirico said during the broadcast. He was able to gingerly jog off to the sideline, but was back on the field after a 2-minute chat with the head trainer and a team doctor, according to sideline reporter Melissa Stark. Brate never entered the blue medical tent, NBC Sports reported, and he re-entered the game after just a few plays. So that was probably hey, you all right? What happened? You hit your head there? No, it's my shoulder. You sure? Yeah, it's my shoulder. Okay, all right, we're going to walk over here now. That's what happened. So here we have Tony Dungy says, a broken system. Former player and head coach who spent 13 seasons with the Bucks and Indianapolis Colts wrote on Twitter. I'd like to see what he wrote here. Let me pull it up. I think that actually is more important than the article. I just wanted to see what he wrote. Don't really care for the article's opinion on it, but this is what Tony Dungy wrote. Broken system. I was on the sideline very close to Brate. Obvious he had his bell rung. There's a league-appointed spotter in the press box who should stop playing and alert the referee. Brate shouldn't have been allowed to return until after evaluation. Why didn't that happen? And I mean, hey, that's a fair question. I think that's a very fair question because at the end of the day, if that's the protocol, then that's what they're supposed to do. They're not supposed to let the player dictate, how they move forward with evaluating them for a concussion. That's kind of like the backwards way of doing it. Like if you want to hustle backwards, that's how you do it.
Maybe they need more spotters. They clearly need more spotters, or a quicker way to get the process into action.
I think about it like this. I say, why would you need more spotters when it's usually the guy with the ball who gets hit and it's concussed? Usually,
I don't know.
Not all
maybe this guy was taking a shit. I don't know.
I mean, but usually it's the guy you're looking at already who's getting the who took the shot and now is gingerly jogging off the field. Looks slightly, like they're out, like they're got some cobwebs to shake off, which means you're concussed. That's where it is. And it's just when you have it happen 2 times in literally 1 week. Actually, no. 2 times.
10 days.
Three times in 10 days with the concussion events for players, right, when we're talking about Tua and then here with Cameron Brate. But it's the second time that a player's been allowed to go back into the game after they got their bell rung. Which is that's where all of this really comes down to the fact that, if that's how it's going to be, if a guy can just say his shoulder hurts and you don't evaluate him for a concussion when he took a shot to the head, he's wearing shoulder pads, It couldn't be, it's not necessarily like that's just easy to see it was his shoulder. But if that's how easy it is, then the system is broken and you have to change it. You have to now create, more in way of layers to prevent a player from being able to, to brush off what could be a dangerous injury. It's just, I just can't understand why that's how easy
it allowed to get to him.
Yeah, why is it allowed for him
in his hands at all?
Exactly. It shouldn't even be in his hands. Exactly.
I don't care if my big toe hurts. If you see me get up like that,
Yeah, if you see me get
make
up,
sure everything up here is all right.
Exactly, because you can tell there's a difference between alertness and and then that kind of blank gaze that you get when you have a concussion or when you get hit and you get your bell rung. Shoot, I've had my bell rung in games, which obviously they would have been classified as a concussion, but you get hit, you get like a slight headache from the hit, and it goes away after like 10-15 seconds. If it's like a direct hit, it was always those hits that kind of hit right here, right above the right under or when it makes your eye or your forehead pad slam down into the top. Yeah. Those are the ones where I would just be like eyes watering, oh God. I think that's like feeling like you might have broke your nose or some shit. Like, oh my God. But when you take a hit and that your bell's been rung, whether a lot of times, and obviously for our whole lives, maybe not nearly as much as it will be for players now, but those were concussions. We stayed in games plenty of times after hard hits. Didn't even come out. Just go back to the huddle and just shake it off a little bit and keep going. To a certain degree, that's on us. But when you have a system in place to prevent that, then it should be something that's taken advantage of fully. And the NFL is, I think, allowing players to game the system. Or I'm not saying the NFL is in the league as a business. I'm talking about these teams and the culture within the teams, because you want production. And if you think of the timeline from the 2010 NFL CBA, when they really put all this stuff in motion, to now, at the very beginning of that timeline, from about 2010 to 2013, 14, 15, you saw a spike in concussions. You saw guys getting concussions left and right, guys not coming back into the game. You wouldn't even see the hit. It would be like somebody getting somebody else, and they'd be out. They're out for the game with a concussion,
Oh, by the way, this guy had a concussion in the last series. You won't see it.
Yeah, I think you remember like I remember. It was like, damn, there's a lot. I would be in the locker room, and they'd be having, you'd be seeing ESPNs on every TV in every locker room in every NFL stadium or every facility, because that's the only thing you're going to watch. NFL Network, ESPN. So you're sitting there and you look at, we sit there on a Monday and we're watching highlights from other games, and there's tons of players going out with concussions. For the first 4 or 5 years of the activating of the concussion protocol, there were tons of concussions, tons. And then you slowly saw, if I could find a graph on it, I'd look it up, because I bet you can confirm this. About 5 years into that CBA, you just start seeing the number of concussions slowly go down, less. And the NFL is promoting this as a safer game. They put condoms on the helmet. Everybody got new helmets. Everything's safer. Blah, blah, blah. A football helmet can't stop no concussion. Yeah, they've eliminated kickoff returns, essentially. But the thing is that there is no way to stop a concussion in football. You can't. There's no way. If you're full speed, you're looking at the concussion, because the helmet only protects the skull. It can't protect the brain within the skull, which is sitting in a fluid, which still allows it to move. There's space, there's give there that the brain has inside the skull. That is never going to be protected by a helmet, because it can move. Your head is protected because it's not moving in the helmet when you hit things. That's why your head don't get cracked from hitting the front of your actual helmet. But that is essentially what is happening. Exactly. The kinetic energy from
and now
boom,
complete stop.
Exactly. So there's nothing you can do with the football helmet to stop that. There's nothing. There is just nothing. It's not possible.
Yeah,
That's why this is such a dangerous thing for the NFL.
Until Elon Musk figures out a way to inject some type of foam into your actual
in your
skull
head to protect your brain from, because the only way you could stop
so your brain doesn't move at all.
Exactly. So the brain cannot move if you want to get rid of it. And there's no way to do that. So it will be a problem forever for the NFL. And I think if you pay attention to that timeline, 5 years in, so 2015 up till now, the number of concussions has gone down a lot. I don't think that's because there haven't been concussions. I think, and this is my speculation, mine alone, I think that number went down significantly because players started to game the system. We're able to game the system if it wasn't a serious, I got knocked out hit. And we've seen it now with 2 cases where a tight end and a quarterback have gamed the system. Quarterback said it's my back and my ankle when he ain't never grabbed his back or ankle. Tight end says it was his shoulder. He ain't never touched his shoulder. He didn't never do any of this. I know I do this sitting around just on the daily because that shoulder is clicking and clacking. You know what I mean?
But, I mean, it must not have been. See, this is what gets me about the Brate situation. If he later went and got somebody, that makes me think that maybe it wasn't bothering him like right when it happened. Like it was just
the thing is they didn't take him into
a delayed onset or something.
Which could be. It could be that. Yeah, it could be. What I'm saying is they didn't even go test it.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you on that.
And that's where the problem is.
I think Todd Bowles said they checked his shoulder out a couple times.
Yeah. Now there. Yeah.
Like, I can't find anything wrong.
Yeah, Todd Bowles, and let me. I had some. I had something that I have to pull it up again, but he had a statement. He said that they looked at him 3 times, and it was he said I guess it was a shoulder thing he was talking about, but he came back in on the same drive that he got hit. And again, it goes down to that he was able to keep himself in the game by using an excuse that it was a different injury. Which, if there's a spotter on the field, they should already be ringing down to the referees, hey, this guy, this number is hurt. He got up slow. He looked like it. The referees could have, they didn't even do nothing. So, the referees, do they not have any ability to be active in that? If they see a player that looks like they're concussed, looks like they're having trouble getting their balance or getting themselves up off the ground, do you say, hey, do you point him out to the sideline and say, y'all need to look at him? Do you stop play and say, hey, y'all need to look at him? Or does it all rely on the spotter? Which, if it relies on the spotter, then it's broke because the spotter ain't been able to do this shit right yet.
Anybody should be able to initiate that system. Hell, if you touch a ref, that's supposed to be a penalty.
They suspending cats if you bump into the ref. They're gonna say just suspended.
So you should stop play right there.
Yeah.
But then when you look at him and be like, whoa, this guy's like looking over here and over here at the same time. Maybe I should alert somebody.
It's crazy. It just doesn't seem like the system is very efficient at adjusting to, the variables, which include the player himself, in the situations where guys could potentially be concussed. And until they get that fixed, all I know is, somebody, there's a lawsuit that sparks the change. And the NFLPA is considering a lawsuit against the Miami Dolphins right now. So, maybe that is something that helps get this thing kicking in the right direction. But we'll just keep our eyes open. We've been seeing this happen now in this past week. So
they did fire the fall guy.
How it plays out.
Or they found a fall guy. So maybe they think that's enough to cover their ass.
The NFLPA fired the unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant of the Dolphins after finding out he made several mistakes with the concussion protocol tests. So they fired him, which it makes him look like a fall guy, because if he made mistakes, wouldn't the other team, training staff, kind of try to, I don't know, help in passing that information?
Hey, dog, you're fucking
some information along. Like, you sure that's the right question to ask?
If I'm getting my, wisdom teeth pulled and the dentist is, doing something up here, there's going to be someone else in the office like, hey, man, You're taking out the wrong teeth.
Yeah, you're taking out the wrong teeth, man. What's going on? It's just I just can't.
Asking him about his shoulder when he got hit in the face.
Yeah,
and was barely able to get up.
You know what I mean? Like, it just don't make no sense to me. That's where I'm wondering how analog is this situation that all he has to do is respond to you that it's not his head, and you let that pass.
I mean,
that just
now he could also have a shoulder injury because I mean the way he got hit. I mean, I thought it was going to be some type of neck issue.
Yeah, or maybe like a stinger or something like that.
Yeah, that's how it looked. The way he kind of snapped back like that. But I don't. Yeah, like you're saying, and I think we agree on this. There should never be, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, it should never be
because cats are going to be like,
you are
anything except your head. Like, there's no way a guy's going to be like, oh man, my head hurts.
That's basically what it becomes.
Unless you just signed a fully guaranteed contract. Then you might be like, you know what? My head's kind of hurt.
You know what? Man, my CTE acting up.
They got me. But, make sure that check clear.
Appreciate the $2 super chat. My Ravens are falconing at an alarming rate. Yes, they are. We'll talk about that when we get into the scores. But let's move on here. We got to talk about this guy because, he is definitely a problem child in the NFL. And I mean, he's not even in the NFL
for the NFL,
but he's just affiliated forever because of his
life in general. Shit,
you know what I mean? So Antonio Brown. Well, people, I'm just gonna let the video play and we'll figure it out after.
It just pretty much speaks for itself.
We'll talk about it and figure this out after.
Yeah, one more. Yeah, another one.
He's waterboarding her.
He's giving her the longboard.
Oh.
Yeah, one more. Yeah, another one.
Antonio Brown.
There he goes, ladies and gentlemen.
AB for short. I used to be like a fan of Antonio Brown. I used to be a big fan. But his situation has deteriorated so quickly. And ever since he took that hit from Burfict, everybody points to that. I think a lot of people point to that and say this was the point when this cat's whole mental, perspective seemed to have changed. Like this guy became a different kind of person after that hit. But if you go through the litany of shit that this guy has been up to, half of it, I mean, can you even attribute it to CTE? Because it's almost like he's just, you think, oh, maybe he's just acting out, but it feels like he's just like out of his damn mind. I don't know what look, they say he was in Dubai. Let me pull this up real quick. We can take a look at there's an article here that kind of that goes along with this from the New York Post. But it's just like, what is wrong with this guy? Why are you being such a, golly, look, oh my God, look at this shit. Oh my God. What are you doing, AB?
Well, you're sure I want to know.
Bruh, when this is how this is the New York Post, when this is how they show you in the New York Post.
Dog. Come on now.
Oh my God, why? Bro, you're doing yourself no favors.
Oh,
You're doing
man.
yourself no favors here. What the hell? How do I close this?
Are his parents still living?
That's what I was just thinking. I was like, what does his mom got to be thinking about this?
Jeez.
Because,
Like,
I mean,
sick to
look,
my
this
stomach.
dude is like, this dude has lost his damn mind in real time. We're seeing it in real. It's not even like, you know, it's happening in isolation. Like he's sharing his entire downfall with the world. Like
this
hey,
30
look
for
at
30.
me.
That 30 for 30 gonna be nuts.
His 30 for 30 is going to be the best 30 for 30 in the history of the NFL, in the history of 30 for 30s. But we'll go through this article real quick. Notorious unsigned NFL bad boy. Is that what they call him? Could be flagged for illegal use of the hands and butt. Embattled all-pro receiver Antonio Brown was caught on video shoving his bare buttocks into the face of a stunned woman in an outdoor swimming pool at a swanky Dubai hotel, and then lifting his manhood out of the water and whipping it in her direction as wide-eyed vacationers watched in shock. It sounded like they were goading him on, if you ask me. That's what I got in the video.
Yeah.
Sounded like they were goading him on. I wouldn't say watch
somebody was having a great time there.
There were plenty participating. Video footage obtained by the Post of the May 14th incident at the Armani Hotel in Dubai shows Brown, 34, way too close for comfort to the woman who initially laughed off the attention but quickly swam away to escape the controversial gridiron grate. Does she even know if who that was? There's another question. This is Dubai. You're not in the United States. This person probably don't even know who the fuck he is. But eyewitnesses said Brown, whose previous off-the-field antics have gotten him into hot water with the league and the law, and who remains an NFL free agent after bizarrely quitting on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know what's funny? Is that the video of the nationwide video that everyone saw of Antonio Brown taking his pads off and doing jumping jacks on his way out of the back of the field on third down while the Tampa Bay Buc offense was on the field, quitting. That ain't his wildest video no more. This is.
Yes, we have supplanted that by and large.
He's already outdone himself. I mean, in a sense, that is impressive. I ain't gonna hate. That's kind of impressive. You have to try to do that.
He needs to call Kris Jenner and see what type of endorsements he can get. I mean, if she launched all them billionaires off a sex tape, I'd be trying to get some too.
He needs to go ahead. Only thing left for him to do is date a Kardashian, and then he's on. And he's already crazy, so if he dates a Kardashian, it might make him sane. You never know.
The reverse effect.
NFL free agent, after bizarrely quitting on Tampa Bay Bucs in the middle of a game last season, had just met the woman, and she was fuming after the encounter. So, look, let's be careful about how we absorb this info, because they've already kind of put out there a little bit of misinformation. These people were not shocked that he was doing this. They were people goading him on to continue. So, if anything, you know, if you want to say anything, they were more enabling him than anything else. But it says here, in one video, Brown, who's apparently nude aside from the gold chains around his neck, is huddled at the edge of the pool with the woman. So they were kicking it. Now,
big cheesing.
Look at this cat. Oh my God. But look, she's smiling too.
Yeah.
Let's just be real.
Yeah,
can't see her face, but she's smiling.
Well, I mean, he might not have the meat out yet.
He then
plants
both hands.
Water.
You know what I mean? Hey, man, if he's naked in the water, I mean, come on. They were huddled up in the corner of the pool. Well, he's probably getting a hand job. Not gonna lie.
I say he might be. That's a wild boy right here, man. Plants
both hands on the pool's decks, lifts himself out of the water twice, sticking his butt in the woman's face both times. God damn. She turned away, laughing off the apparent neutral zone infractions as other men in the pool began egging Brown on, yelling, "Yeah, another one," and AB. So let's not say shocked when they were clearly trying to push him to do it. This is just hilarious. Look at this. I mean, that is like complete. He's having a good time, at least. Now, hey, that might get him in some trouble, but goddamn. Well, I mean, it looks like he's smiling in every situation. He does some crazy shit. The woman initially laughed off the attention, but quickly swam away. In the second video, Brown appears to startle the woman when he tries to tie a headscarf around her head. Probably his drawers. It's probably his swimming shorts. She's able to snap off the scarf, which witnesses said he snatched from another swimmer. Damn, AB.
So he's just
Brown,
a menace out here.
A menace to society in every sense right now. Brown then lifts the woman up and tosses her head first into the water like he was spiking a football, the shocking video shows. See, this is what I don't like here.
I mean, you got to consider the source.
That's not, yeah, this is like not.
This is like a gossip.
Okay, yeah,
here,
New York
basically.
Post is, they are a little bit raggy, not going to lie. But, I mean,
he
raggy news.
He did dump her in the water.
He did dunk her. He dunked her, but I mean, like he was spiking a football, he had to use both.
Right.
It's not like he just like picked her up out the water and was just like, grrr. You know what I mean? The woman rises out of the water, wipes her eyes, and swims to the other side of the pool away from Brown. One man quips he's waterboarding her, while another sarcastically responds he's giving her the longboard.
Golly.
This is gonna be here forever.
I mean, he could never. He can only rap from now on. There's no other job he's fit for.
I mean, yeah, he's a rapper. That's what he is.
That's like the first. This is
or
gonna be the first
star.
picture of every job you're ever gonna get again.
He can be a porn star too. I mean, but this is gonna be forever. Let's see here. Leaning on the edge of the pool's interior, Brown then grabs his penis and briefly yanks it out of the water in the direction of the woman, causing another man sitting and observing poolside to scream, "Oh my God!" So he screamed that out loud, huh? Oh my God! No,
the humanity.
Someone think of the children.
We need some of the JR sound bites.
You know what I mean? I mean, this is
much, man. He clearly has an album coming soon.
He must have an album coming out soon.
He needs some attention.
He must be doing like how Kanye's doing. Kanye got, oh my God, Kanye West.
I need the shock and awe right before I drop.
I need to piss everybody off because I don't know how else to make money unless I'm controversial, and then I provide a product after that. But anyways, let's keep going here. 2 eyewitnesses told the Post that Brown continued to flaunt his private parts several times after the recording ended, rudely asking the woman, "You want it?" I mean, it's just a question.
I mean, how else you gonna know? How else will you know if you don't ask?
Yeah. The sources said the woman appeared visibly upset and was later spotted inside the hotel yelling and complaining to others about the incident. Rep at the hotel declined to comment and refused to reveal the woman's identity. Brown was asked to leave the hotel shortly after the incident, according to the hotel staffer who requested anonymity. The hotel had also received earlier complaints from other guests about Brown's antics. Oh, are we surprised? No. The complaints included Brown allegedly snubbing United Arab Emirates dress code customs by flaunting his bare chest to the guests inside the hotel and smoking what they believe smelled like marijuana in his room, which would violate the country's law.
You need to get the fuck about it.
Now you better be careful with that because, hey, you know, who was it? I think it was Future's DJ. Future's DJ got caught with like a stem of weed, and he was in 56 nights in jail in Dubai.
Shit.
You better watch out. Let's see here. Brown, now an aspiring rap artist. That sounds hilarious. Was in the United Arab Emirates to see his buddy, former boxing champ Floyd Mayweather Jr., fight an exhibition in Abu Dhabi and perform as the boxer walked into the ring. 7-time Pro Bowler shocked the NFL world in January when he abandoned Tom Brady and the rest of the then defending champs Bucks in the middle of the game with the Jets that they eventually pulled out in the final seconds. Brown ripped off parts of his uniform. Okay, we know all that stuff. Let's see here. Okay, they're just going through some other things that have nothing to do with this specifically. But, man, forever. This is forever. Oh, Lord. So, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I guess right now it's his private life. So what can one person, what can we say other than, hey, it looks pretty bad? And I'm sure he could probably use some of these photos from this incident as like an album cover. I would. But
they don't got indecent exposure in the
we don't know what their laws are, and their laws are different than ours are in Dubai. So you can't really, there may not even be anything like sexual harassment there. That may not even exist. I don't know. I'm not an attorney, and I don't know what their laws are. There could not be a such thing as that. Indecent exposure, I'm sure there might be something like that because they did say that he was breaking their clothing traditions by walking around without a shirt on. But hell, they didn't kick him out the hotel for that. So, they didn't kick him out the hotel for that. They didn't kick him out the hotel for smoking weed in his room. They kicked him out after that incident. So it took 3 incidents for him to finally get asked to leave. I'm sure if he, if he would have said, hey, I put out, here's money, let me stay, they probably would have let him stay. Not gonna lie.
It must have been somebody with some real money that did the complaining.
Yeah, it must have been somebody who's, maybe a regular at the hotel, well-known, or maybe financially very much more well-off than him, and was able to do it. Because you can pretty much be assured that even, with the money that he probably has, he probably didn't pay to go out there if he was going to basically work for Floyd Mayweather during his exhibition match. He got flown out there. So it wasn't a matter of, he, spent his money to probably go out there. He probably... they probably got him a flight, got him a hotel. So, they probably let the first 2 things go because they know he's Floyd Mayweather's friend at that point. Maybe,
I'm here with.
And he put that out. He flexed on him.
You know what I'm doing here?
You can only flex with somebody else's name for so long before you start making them look bad. And then he ain't
about to get that call. Hey, dog, what you do at the hotel, man?
Oh yeah, because look, Floyd Mayweather has that kind of bread that's out there in Dubai. He has that. That cat has made $1 billion, I'm sure, already. He gets paid like damn near $200 million a fight. Like that's what he made.
He made over 100 off that little bullshit with McGregor.
With McGregor, yeah, I was at that fight. It wasn't even a real fight. McGregor. He hit McGregor one time and knocked him out. Basically, knocked him out. McGregor was not ready for that. He died in like the 7th round. He had nothing left. He just was like,
they only do what, 5 rounds in UFC?
Yeah, but they go 5 minutes straight.
Now it's 5-minute rounds.
Yeah, so you should be able to go 3 minutes in boxing, but round 7,
they grapple and
he
shit
was
like
done.
That.
Yeah, they doing way more. Yeah, it's definitely.
He made more that night than the rest of his whole career.
Yeah,
and then he launched that fucking whiskey and never looked back. So good for him.
Never looked back. Grew his hair out. You can see his old receding hairline and everything. Everything going away, but he don't care. But AB not looking like. Look, it's his private life. At this point, I don't care. I don't really care. It's entertaining to see it, read at it, laugh about it. Yeah, there is a sad side of it because, there probably is some CTE issues that are, compromising him a little bit, I would say, because impulse control is one of the things that is that is openly affected. If you are suffering from CTE severely enough, your ability to control your impulses become greatly diminished. So, maybe there's something there, but he's a grown man. And if he wants to risk going to jail in Dubai because he's jumping around naked in the pool, hey, there are rock stars who've done 10 times as worse.
Right.
So, not gonna be over here just not gonna clown him too hard for that because this is crazy, but it's also AB. We know he's gonna do something crazy.
But Joe Biden not coming for you, dog.
Yeah, for real.
If you go to jail,
man, don't get arrested because Biden ain't getting you out. Shit.
He is not coming for you.
We can't offer up. We don't have anybody to offer them. All right. So let's move on here. Let's get into these scores. People. Now, of course, week 4 in the NFL. what we all have been waiting to see, because at week 4, that's around the time when you kind of get a good feel of your team. You see where things are beginning to head as far as, the path your team is taking for the season. And, it really, for teams that are looking to improve, you see if there's improvement. You can see and kind of gauge at that point if this team is really improving or not, because you usually get your bigger tests in the 4th week. You get into that 4th game and you're getting into the meatier schedule. That's when you start to go up against some bigger opponents, some tougher opponents, and you start to see the separation of teams in those that are winning and those that are staying ahead of the curve and those that aren't. Before we do that, though, let's look at this super chat here. Arrow Flambe one for $4.99. Uche and Justin, what's the best way to contact you? I'd be honored to add your signatures to my sports tuber collection with Perna, 5, and Tree. Appreciate that, man. Yeah. I'm pretty sure my email address is on the channel's about section. Or you can just hit us up on Twitter. My Twitter is on the screen here, Chuku77. And is that yours,
this
JB?
is my IG.
That's your IG. Or hit him up, or hit up Justin on Instagram. You can get a hold of us there, and we'll be more than happy to sign it. We'll give you info to send it to us, and we sign it. Let's see. So let's start this off here. Obviously, first game up here, Bengals, Dolphins. We know why this game played out the way it did for the most part. With Tua Tagovailoa going out with the concussion right before half. That completely changed the dynamic of that game. But the Bengals get back on. They get things right. And that puts them in good position to get themselves back into a manageable spot in their division, because you have a team like Baltimore. They dropped their games. They dropped the game.
Yeah.
So that actually helps them in the long run there. But Dolphins lose that game. Obviously, it's not the game necessarily that people are going to talk about in Miami, but they do go down 15-20 or 27-15 to the Bengals. Chargers beat the Texans 34-24. I can't believe I mean, we saw that.
I think it was going to be that close, right?
It didn't look like it was going to happen for a minute there. The Chargers are struggling a little bit right now. They're struggling. They took a loss last week to the Jags. This week, this they get right with 34-24 win, but it was too close for comfort, I would say, if I was them.
It does not bode well.
It does not bode well. Next up, Tennessee gets the win over the Colts 24-17. Derrick Henry has a hell of a day at running back. He gets over 100 yards. I believe he had over 100. Let me see.
He actually had quite a few receiving yards.
Yeah, he had 22 carries. Let me see. 22 carries, 114 yards, and a touchdown. Let's see. Receiving wise, I'm not sure what he had. I think he did have some receiving yards there. Let me see.
I think it was just some screens or something. I can't remember exactly what it was. It's not like he's running wheel routes on people.
He had 3 catches for 33 yards. I mean, he's not a guy you expect to be coming out of the backfield and catching passes. You just hand him the ball, let him do his thing. So, at least for that, that's a little bit more that he's added to his game, and it makes him even more unstoppable if he gets
the more you can do. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I can leave you in on third down. I mean, I'm not sure I want him taking those extra hits trying to block and shit, but
yeah. But the Colts, I just feel like, I don't give a fuck about the Colts because I'm a Jaguar, but I feel like the Colts just they don't have an identity yet. They kind of they thought that identity would kind of cultivate around Matt Ryan, but they don't have everything in place. Like they just one thing is working, the other thing is malfunctioning. So they're not able to get everything working at the same time so they can be optimal. But Tennessee, they needed it. They had to have that win. That kind of gets them back into the division race because the Jaguars are still first in the division. But they definitely needed to get that win. So eventually it will come down to the matchup between the Jags and the Titans. That is going to end up being the division maker for the AFC South. Next game, this one, my goodness, the Baltimore Ravens, for what, the second time this season, have an opponent down more than 2 scores and lose the game. Buffalo comes back, beats Baltimore 23-20. This has got to be, this has got to be a dagger for Baltimore fans. It's got to be a dagger. It's got to be.
That one hurt.
And Lamar Jackson looked human in this game. He looked human. 20 for 29, 144 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 2 sacks, QB rating of 47.9. Let me see.
Is that the 1 out of 100 or the 1 out of 153?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Or 158.3.
His QBR was 47.9. His RTG was 63. So his rating was a 63. His quarterback rating was a 47. So not a good game. He averaged 5 yards per play. Josh Allen averaged 5.9. Josh Allen wasn't much better. He wasn't like that much better. Oh,
yeah. I mean, if you're down 23 at some point, you're not, setting the world on fire.
I mean, these cats were up. What? They were up 24-10.
Oh, okay. I was a little off
at halftime. They didn't score again. Wait, hold on. My bad. They're up 20.
Couldn't have been because they don't.
My bad. 20-10. 20-10.
I think it was 23 at one point.
20-3. Yeah, it was 20. They scored before the end of the half. 20-10. So the halftime it was 20-10. So they're down 2 scores. They were really down. They were down 3 before that, but they were down 2.
They never scored again.
And they didn't score again. They didn't score again. That's what I mean. I've been saying this, and look, I love Lamar Jackson. I think he's a great player. I think he's a great leader. I think he's a great quarterback. I think he's in a system that does not know how to use him correctly. If you put Lamar Jackson in the Kansas City offense, he has a Super Bowl already. If you put him in any West Coast offense, he might have a Super Bowl already. He is playing in a college down. He is playing in some kind of weird option hybrid tight end passing, tight end favoring offense that doesn't really it doesn't use him well. I mean, I don't know, man. I just feel like this is all setting up for him to leave Baltimore. And I think that it would probably be best for him to leave Baltimore because he's a good quarterback, but you can't show it in Baltimore. You can't show it. You just can't because it's just the system is not built for you to be able to dominate the game on multiple levels because everything centers around the running game and the RPO. So, and you don't have a receiving core. There ain't no receiving core there. You got a tight end. That's it.
Man, he's a great tight end, but still, you need more.
He's a great tight end, but I mean, you need a great receiver too.
And most receivers don't want to sign up to be fucking blockers. To
be run blockers. Yeah,
half
they don't
the
want to
time.
go to Baltimore. You are not getting anybody in Baltimore who's a great receiver because they're only going to run routes 10 times a game, 15 times a game. But they'll be run blocking, 30, 40. It's crazy, man.
You guys aren't trying to do that
it's
shit.
Crazy. So this is the game that was supposed to, this is the direct matchup, QB versus QB for the division. Not for the division, for Baltimore.
It could be a preview of the AFC Championship.
It could be a preview of the AFC divisional, maybe
divisional round. KC's gonna be that motherfucker.
Because it looks like Kansas City's already starting to get on that run. 3-1. Your top teams in the league. You're going to start to see the separation here because there is there's a bigger gap than I thought there would be with some of these teams. But Baltimore is not one that I expected to be 2-2 at this point. Because they hadn't been that way in previous seasons. They'd always come out fast. They always start the year undefeated, usually. And it's usually off the legs of Lamar Jackson. But I feel like it's time for him to go ahead and I know he wanted to ball out this season to, set the stage to get his guaranteed contract with Baltimore, but Baltimore is not the place for you. It's not. It's just not the place that he needs to be. If he wants to get a Super Bowl, he needs to go to a team where he can have weapons at the receiver spot because he can throw the ball to receivers who are open. He can throw the ball to in tight spots just as well as any quarterback in the NFL. But he doesn't get the opportunities because he doesn't have receivers that are any good. So it's really like, he's in a lose-lose situation. You don't get there. They don't want to give you the money, even though they know they're going to have to. And they're going to offer you something fully guaranteed by the time this season ends. Right. But at that point, you should be ready to say no, because whatever they're going to offer you in Baltimore to stay there, all 31 other teams will give you double and guarantee it to get you. You know how many teams need a quarterback right now in the NFL?
Golly.
Hell, the team that we're going to talk about next, they need one. Both of them. Jets and the Steelers. You think the Steelers won't fork over $250 million guaranteed to get Lamar Jackson? Yes, they will.
Yeah, they give you Kenny Pickett too.
and they'll give you Kenny Pickett and Trubisky. They can all go. You know what I mean? But Baltimore is going to continue to have these kind of issues because really at the end of the day, this is a team that leans on his skill to have a chance. And he's just not going to win there. He's just not going to win there. I felt that way since when he won the MVP. I said, oh shit, if they get him some receivers, it's going to be on. Then they had Hollywood Brown. They got him, but he wasn't shit.
He bounced.
It's like, okay, he bounced. And then they never got any other receivers. It didn't even seem like they were targeting receivers in free agency. I'm like, why aren't they trying to get this cat wideouts? He needs them because if they get wideouts on that team, they're going to be in the Super Bowl. And
I mean, do you think another quarterback, let's say he does leave, could another quarterback go in there and do anything?
His backup.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only guy that can run that offense.
Because if you think about it, Baltimore, all three of Baltimore's quarterbacks are all the same mold after Lamar Jackson. Because that's the only kind of quarterback that can run that offense. A traditional NFL quarterback can't run that offense. They're not going to. You think they're going to keep it on the RPO? No. That's a give every time.
Like, I don't give a fuck what the read is. Here, take this.
That's a give every time. You know what I mean? So it's
most other cats can't just run out of bounds from the far hash. No, Lamar can do that and not take the hits.
And not even take a hit. He can run 30 yards down the field and not take a hit. Not going to happen with these other guys. Trubisky tries that, he's going to get folded in half. He knows it. You know what I mean? But it's really not looking good for them. I mean, Josh Allen is an amazing quarterback. I like Josh Allen too. I like both these quarterbacks. But Josh Allen, even he be taking blows. He's just bigger.
He needs to start being careful.
And and eventually them blows are going to start wearing his ass out.
Yeah, he's a big boy, and he's young.
He's a big boy, but he's young. That's why he can take those hits.
That shit adds up. He can take them.
But that shit is going to break him. It's going to shake him and break him sooner or later.
Yeah, year 7, 8, 9. Hey, it's worth it to slide, dog.
Yeah, it is. I'm telling you. But they go down 23-20. I mean, they blew their lead. They blew it. That's on them. I did not expect the Jets to go in.
A questionable fourth down call.
Did the Ravens? I didn't watch the game.
I just saw highlights.
You're right. I saw it. The hit to the head on Josh Allen that was really just a tackle.
Oh, no. I was talking about the Ravens going for it on fourth down.
When Lamar throws the pick because he has to drop back fucking 20 yards to buy some time. And then, I mean, you don't have good wideout, so it's not like anybody's open.
Yeah,
so you
cats
just
aren't
go ahead
getting
and throw
open.
that thing up.
cats aren't really blocking, on a drop back situation.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me see that. Let me pull this up so we can take a quick look at it. I don't want to, I like I said, I like Lamar. I don't want to, I just don't want these motherfuckers to try and hit me with some damn. Okay, here we go. Good. We got. No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not. Oh yeah, the NFL's going to claim that shit if I try to run it. No, here it is. No, that's not it either. Never mind. Yeah, but I think most people saw that. Most people saw the highlight of the fourth down. He drops back. He drops back further, because nothing's happening with the offense to give him any idea who to go to. So he just lobs it up like, hey, I'm about to get slammed. Let me just lob it up. Somebody has to make a play. It's fourth down.
Somebody did.
And somebody did. Brandon Poyer. Who was it?
Poyer?
Yeah, Poyer snatched that shit out the air. And it has him looking, and that makes him look bad, even though that's really not on him. Get open. It's fourth down. not like we get another shot at this. So it's a bad situation there. And I think that this is something that people have kind of seen starting to build up over the past few years, just because of the lack of progress in the receiver position for the Ravens. So, we'll see how the rest of the season goes. I anticipate that we won't, with the better teams in the league that they play against, they're going to see similar. I mean, if they don't collapse first, they'll have a better shot at winning, but they're going to see similar play styles against Lamar to try and put him in those situations where he has to throw it to guys who can't get open. So, that's what it is right now. But I did not expect the Jets to go into Pittsburgh and win 24-20. And it looks like that motherfucker.
That's a bad motherfucker.
That's a bad motherfucker. Pittsburgh. I mean, their offense looked absolutely terrible. I mean, everything looked bad and I think this guy's a good player. Najee Harris didn't even look good. The quarterback situation clearly is it's exactly kind of what we thought it was going to be, right? I mean, did anybody think Trubisky was going to lead this team to anything in particular? I mean, much, we're not even talking about wins, just anything in particular.
Damn. Just to be a competitive.
I didn't expect any of that from Trubisky.
Yeah, I'm not sure what would have led us to believe that at all.
Yeah. But what's his name? Zach Wilson?
Yeah.
Wilson, he's kind of trash too, but I mean,
he played well in the fourth quarter.
He made some plays. I saw some of the highlights.
Up to then it was trash.
You got to go back to the fucking drawing board when you lose to the Jets. It's like, yo,
God damn.
This isn't going to work. Their offense coordinator is going to have to go. He's going to have to be the one who's the fall guy for this one. Because there's no excuse to lose at home against the Jets. That's bad. That's bad juju right there.
You don't want to be putting that shit on film.
Las Vegas. How bad are the Broncos? How bad are you that you lose to the only team in the NFL that ain't won yet?
Yeah, I was going to say, were they the last team to get their first win?
Yeah, last team to get their first win. Bottom of the division. The Las Vegas Raiders beat the Broncos. I mean, your divisional opponent, who man for man, they're a talented team. They're not a lacking of talent, but they're lacking of order and leadership from a staff, from an administrative standpoint, with the coaches, with the GMs. They don't really have the foundation in place from the organizational side to help, create an optimal situation for the players on, in real time on game day. That's what happens when you get, McDaniels in there. Josh McDaniels is he's not a head coach. He's not a good head coach. And he's proven that numerous times, but he did squeeze a win out of the Raiders for the Broncos today. And Russell Wilson, that Russell Wilson deal is not, I still think it's a little bit too early to pass judgment, but it's not looking very good. I don't know. What do you think? You think? I mean, I've only seen their highlights. It just doesn't look. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I haven't watched the full game yet. I mean, if Eli Manning says they should have paid the punter instead, I mean, that's usually not a good sign.
That means okay. So that means their offense is garbage, which means either it's your coordinator or it's your players. I don't want to believe that Russell Wilson is a garbage quarterback because I don't think he is a garbage quarterback. I think he's pretty damn good, honestly.
He's pretty. I mean, he's not. It's not like he's old or washed.
He's still
up.
an upper echelon quarterback. He's not washed at all. But
I mean, I know he did take a lot of hits in Seattle, but I don't. I refuse to believe that he's just fallen off a cliff like that.
Mm-mm. No, this is not. This is symptomatic of bad game planning, which falls on the offensive coordinator, in my opinion. With the way their offense has struggled, but it's.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you have to bring in an outside consultant to, watch the clock for you,
so yeah, I need help.
Things probably aren't going too great.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I see some of you guys in the chat talking about it. I mean, look, I kind of, one of these I kind of disagree because Russell Wilson is known. That is one of the trademarks of his entire play style is extending plays. He has always had the mobility to extend plays. He still has that exact same mobility to extend plays, and he did it numerous times in the game. He extended plays. But usually when you have to extend plays on a regular basis, it's because your routes are shit. Guys are your route concepts aren't. Yeah, your route concepts aren't any good. So that is kind of cost them. And I mean, it's tough to point at one thing because it's not one thing, but this is a team that that doesn't have they don't have an offensive edge, and they should because they have talent, and they have a great quarterback. So Nathaniel Hackett, his head is going to be the first one to roll when it's all said and done. So he better figure it out, or them boys going to be coming for him soon enough.
Yeah, as you get older, I mean, you want to be relying on that less.
He wants to. Yeah, exactly.
You want to be having more rhythm and timing type concepts, when that back foot hits, the ball's gone. I don't want my 30. I think Russ is 34.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't give a fuck how old you are. I don't want my quarterback, running around every other play trying to extend the play and look for something miraculous downfield. Sometimes
extending all the way to the sideline too, all the way to the sideline where it's like he's about to take a hit before he throws the ball. Like that's right. That's how long he keeps going.
He's taken a lot of hits in his career.
Yeah.
And I think he was the most sacked several years in a row.
Oh, yeah. He's usually always the most sacked quarterback in the NFL.
So, I mean, holding that ball, waiting for something big to happen. Like sometimes just take the check down. But
oh, yeah. He does rely on home run plays a lot because he had home run receivers in Seattle.
Yeah. That's all DK Metcalf was really.
Yeah, he had them. But they drop it. They dropped to 2-2, and the Raiders get their first win. Now they're 1-3. Moving on, we got Atlanta getting the win against Cleveland, which is another situation I didn't necessarily think was going to happen, but I ride with the A. I can dig it. I didn't see the game. I only saw the score, but it's that's a big win for Atlanta. Atlanta is, I have seen some of their games, and their 2 losses. I mean, they played good games. They had the leads in the fourth quarter. So Atlanta is and they're a young team again. So now, young teams, the last real the last trait that a young team picks up when you're talking about just taking those steps of maturity and understanding situational football, having the awareness on the field to know and be and see what's happening and know what needs to be done. The last thing that young teams develop is the ability to finish a game. That's what young teams usually struggle with, finishing games, because they come out fast with the energy, with the emotion, with the adrenaline. They make big plays. They get ahead, and not realizing that good teams don't care how much they're up or down. They keep playing with the intent to keep scoring. So if you have a team that you're handling, generally,
the last thing Atlanta needs is a big lead.
Yeah, that's the last thing you give Atlanta. You don't ever get. It should be a nail biter every time for them, because they cannot function once they get a lead. But this is a team that they won a game, a close game. They pulled it out against a good team, one of the better teams in the league. One of the teams we consider to be a potential contender. When everything's when they got everything in place,
they'll be a lot better week 12 or 13, whatever it is.
Yeah. There'll be a time when that team is fully composed of its full roster, when you'll know that they're contenders. But even with Jacoby Brissett, who's playing well, they were a favorite in this game, and Atlanta pulled it out. So big kudos to them. Next up, Jags at Philly.
I almost called you about halftime.
I would have been hot too. Like,
I was happy. Because that would have obviously done me a big favor.
When we were up 14-0, I was talking cash shit on Twitter. I was tagging all kinds of Philadelphia fans. I'm like, fuck you, motherfuckers.
But lo and behold, wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be, which I'm not mad at this loss for the Jaguars, because this is a loss you need to have to make yourself a better team. And why do I say that? I say that because the Jaguars turned the ball over 5 times, and they had a 14-point lead, and they turned the ball over 5 times. Trevor Lawrence turned the ball over by himself, fumbling the ball 4 times. He is going to be drilling all week on how to hold a wet ball. Yeah, because look.
Oh, it was that. Okay,
it was wet ball syndrome. That's what it was. It was wet ball syndrome.
About to be like, damn, what was Omar Epps' name in the program? When he had to carry the ball to class.
You know what I mean? That was yeah. Oh yeah, I know who you're talking. I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember the character's name,
but here's the thing, right? So yes, he fumbled the ball 4 times and lost all 4 fumbles because of he was not paying attention to the detail of making sure you grip that wet, cold football with a tight grip. He ran with it loose. He hit himself when he was running. Hit his arm on this hip, and the ball came out. Can we
get a hand measurement on him?
But the thing is that this is something he can learn from, because while they weren't necessarily, they had some good long drives. They had good moments on offense, and the defense is legit. The Jags have a good defense. They have one of the best defenses in the NFL. But the good defense can only overcome turnovers for so long, because that's a sudden change for them. And they may have just come off the field after a 10-play drive that they stopped them and held them to 3, or they stopped them and forced a punt. And you go back out there on offense, and 3 plays in, you fumbled the ball and give them the ball back in with a flipped field, which puts them basically in the red zone. That's a tall order for any defense, even the best defenses in the NFL to come out on top, because you didn't get any downtime to rest. You didn't get a chance to look at any of the film to make adjustments, because certainly there's something you saw on the field that you would need to adjust for on defense by looking through their Microsoft pads with film on there, letting them see what's going on. You don't get any chance to do that. You go back to the field, but that offense is still going to run that stuff that worked. So you're going to have to, try and recall and be in position to stop that. That's a hard thing to do in the red zone. That's a hard thing to do. So, the Eagles are the best team in the NFL. I think that's clear for everybody to agree on, whether you're a fan or not. The Eagles are the best team in the league, and and I'm going to say this, and I think it's true. They should have lost to Jacksonville. I think and this is a what if, but I think without that wet ball being a factor in the game, the Jags probably win that game.
Yeah, to be a one-score game with 5 turnovers, that's unheard of.
That means you lost the game. They didn't beat you.
Yeah, usually
this was not a game where Philadelphia. I saw the game. This was not a game where Philadelphia was just pushing Jacksonville around. That was not happening. Were they making big plays? Yes, but they're a good team. They're going to make big plays. Jacksonville made big plays.
Usually 2 turnovers, you're almost guaranteed to lose.
Yeah, 2 turnovers, you're almost guaranteed
plus
to
2.
lose. 5, you should be down 4 scores.
Yeah, it should be like, cancel Christmas. We about to run out of lights on the scoreboard here.
So it's not a situation, again, that the Jaguars weren't up to the task of playing against these cats. They absolutely were. They had a pick return for a touchdown in the first 4 minutes of the game. They returned a pick for a touchdown. Pick 6. That usually means you're going to win. Then they come back and they score on offense. Long drive, go down the field, score on offense, up 14-0. That's the makings. Those were the makings of a blowout that was starting there.
Your odds go like phenomenally high with the pick 6. It's crazy. Damn.
So, they negated all of that because of fumbles. And you can look at that it was an issue with the quarterback handling the ball, which is, hey, wasn't like your running back fumbled, your receiver fumbled, your tight end fumbled. It was all the quarterback. So you can coach that and fix that issue, or at the very least, make him understand how to be aware of that in those situations, and to make sure you're being extra careful with gripping and holding that ball tight, especially if you're going to start stretching and stretching to the sidelines to extend the play.
Yeah, so a lot of the bet cats, they're out here. It looks kind of funny, but 2 hands at all times.
They're running with both hands on the ball, keeping it high around their chin or high around their face while they're running out, so that they don't have a situation like that where he's running with it wide and he hits himself in the leg with the ball. It's just drag it up. Game, and they jagged it. That's what it boils down to. They just lost that game, and that's what it is. But let's keep moving here. Philly played a damn good game too, so that's good for them. Next game, Green Bay gets the win, close win against the Patriots. This game went into overtime, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. This game went into overtime. Look, I guess I will give credit to the Patriots for adjusting, because I honestly thought they were going to get blown out. But they did actually come. They actually came to play. Zapp, who's their quarterback, Zappe.
I think
the kid looked Zappy. Yeah, man, kid looked pretty good, man.
Sounds like a
kid looked pretty
kindergartner.
You know what I mean? It sounds like. It looks like this guy. He'll take a lot of sacks because he did get sacked a lot, but he made some pretty good decisions in the game. And Mac Jones, watch out now. The cat went 10 for 15, 99 yards, 1 touchdown. He was sacked 3 times.
That's probably with about 0 preparation.
Oh yeah, this motherfucker wasn't getting no reps.
Like Willie Beeman
this week.
Like, where's my fucking helmet?
This cat didn't know what the hell was going on out there.
You can't give it to Johnny. I'm Johnny. Like, motherfucker, I'm really not out here trying to play.
You know what I mean? Like, Brian Hoyer was out there first. He gets knocked out of the game. He goes 5 for 6. He was actually, having a pretty decent game himself before he got knocked out. But Bailey Zappi, this guy wasn't getting no reps at all. Only thing he could play this game off of was film. That's the only way he could play it. But the kid came in and had a good game. And I'm telling you, he's probably going to be the starter next week, or at least for this week coming up. And also, Mac Jones comes back, doesn't perform. Might be quarterback controversy.
Look, I know all about those. We're about to have one in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Cowboys about to have one because look, oh man, how bad is it going to look for the Cowboys? Dak Prescott is the worst quarterback. Or he's the worser of the quarterbacks when you compare him with this Rush kid. But we'll get to that here in a second. The Cowboys are coming up. Green Bay pulls it out in overtime. But now also you have Kansas City and Tampa Bay. And Kansas City really, I mean, they kind of put it on Tampa Bay. Man. I mean, obviously we've all seen the play that Patrick Mahomes made. He made a very Patrick Mahomes play with the 360 spin on an attempted sack that then led to a little flip pass from about the 3-yard line. Touchdown in the back of the end zone. I mean, my guy is still Patrick Mahomes. Y'all will respect his name. I don't care how whack his brother is. But also, Tom Brady. We got to talk about him for a second.
Yeah.
Is he washed? Because he looked washed last night. But I don't want to be the one to say it or proclaim it officially. Not the first one. Not the first one. I'll be the second.
I mean, he still did some nice things to get back into the game, kind.
Hey, yo, he got
when you're down by 4
on one play.
What, they were down 4 scores or 3 scores? Like, you're not playing against the same type of defense at that point. You know, you're going to be able to get some things and, you know, rack up a bunch of yards and, you know, have some pretty stats to make it look respectable. But it wasn't your typical performance by him. It didn't look like in control of the offense at all times. And granted, you're getting a lot of receivers back for the first time in a few weeks, so maybe the camaraderie or chemistry is not there like it should be. I'm not ready to say he's washed, though. Bad day at the office. Bad day at the office. We all have them.
Yeah, bad day at the office, but
I mean, it's been like 3 bad days in the office so far this year.
Yeah, he hadn't looked particularly good all season, to be honest.
I mean, I don't think he's getting the loving at home like he's probably used to.
Oh, and oh my God, and his marriage is about to fucking be in shambles. It appears, which that has to be having an effect. I mean, his wife came out and basically said, "I supported this motherfucker through all this football shit he wanted to do. I'm from Brazil. I don't give a fuck about American football, but I supported him all through this. And then he finally hung it up, and it's his turn to support me. And then he goes back on it and goes back to football. Yeah, he about to fuck it up. That's probably why he's not playing very well. He got a lot of things going on. I'm sure that he's within the next 2 to 3 years, we'll probably be hearing about it. But he's not looking very good right now. He's looking very, very human,
just like
very
a guy.
40-ish. He's looking very 45-ish.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I mean, he can still put some zip on it when he has to.
But that ball be floating a lot now. Woo! That thing just be floating down.
I get nervous when anyone gets close to him. But
I mean, you see what Chris Jones did to him? Chris Jones broke that cat. He got up. Brady got up like, shit.
What's going on with this flag?
Turned the ball over. Hey, he turned it over. He got returned for a touchdown. Or no, it didn't get returned for a touchdown, but he turned it over. No, it did get returned for a touchdown. I can't remember. But he was the one who caused the turnover because he got his ass rocked and he let the ball go, and he's just sitting there while they're all just running over. He's just sitting there looking like, we know you're not getting involved trying to get that ball back, but and he looked frail. He looked frail as shit, dude. Like he's not really even as big as he was last year. Last year
he used to be kind of. I wouldn't say he was like stocky, but he had a little bit more meat on his bones. Now he looked like he looks small now. His diet and shit is well documented.
Yeah,
like
cottage cheese every day, all day.
He needs some more protein or something.
For real, he needs some protein because he's looking way too small. not to play, too small to play this sport and be getting hit like that. Shoot. But let's keep going here.
He's like 6'4", 6'5". He
he's
looked
like 6'5".
He looked like he might be like 210 or something. He just,
I mean, for real, he did not. He looked just frail. He looked breakable.
and you don't need to run, so be big.
Be
as big as you want. Be 250.
Put some of that weight behind your throws. Jeez.
Get some ass on you.
Okay, Minnesota. Minnesota beats the Saints. I don't think that's that big of a surprise. The Saints are hurting pretty bad. They don't look good, first off, but also they got injuries. So you got backups on backups in, and Minnesota was able to exploit that. That was the London game, correct?
The 9:30 kick.
Yep, 9:30 kick.
Which led to me watching 13 hours of consecutive football.
But they get it done in London as the away team. The Saints were the home team in that matchup. But just, hey, the Saints it's going to be struggle nation for them for the foreseeable future.
Well, I think
real quick, Dallas beats Washington, we keep going.
No, I think Michael Thomas was out again.
Oh, yeah, he was. Because he's on my fantasy team. And I got my ass kicked in my fantasy matchup because I forgot to take him out.
No, don't get me started.
I thought he was going to play.
Don't get me. Guess who my quarterback was?
Who?
Brian Hoyer.
Oh, shit. Well, at least he started the game.
I'm like the fucking QB bad juju guy right now. Everybody I pick is getting, IR'd. No. Went from Trey Lance, Mac Jones, Brian Hoyer. Whoever I pick next, you're going to get knocked out for sure.
Dude. Yeah. Mine's not looking
good. And there's
mine's
nothing on waivers.
I got my ass kicked.
So somebody propose a trade. I'll give you something good.
All right. So Cowboys at home. They beat the Washington Commanders 25-10. That Cowboys defense is probably, I don't know if this, we have to check the numbers, but I think they are, top, 10 in the NFL right now.
Well, let me do some math. Is that the biggest win of the weekend?
I mean, come on. First off, it's the Commanders.
Hey, I'm reaching for anything I can get.
You should. You shouldn't. You don't need to reach that far. You don't need to reach that far. Because remember, the Commanders' quarterback is Carson Wentz. He's not even as good as the Cowboys' backup. And how bad does that decision look now? How bad a deal was that for the Commanders? Oh, fire the GM right now. Get him out of there. If they only could. If their owner wasn't on a yacht in the Mediterranean, maybe they could.
I mean, international waters, anything goes. No rules.
Yeah, I know, right? Cowboys, big win. Keeps them at the top of the division. Well, they're tied. Well, no, they're not at the top, but they're tied with New York for second. But obviously, they get the second position because they beat New York, and they're 2-0 in the division, which, I mean, hey, I wouldn't have predicted it. Not this early, but it looks like they're going to be competing. But it's we know that it's going to boil down to them and the Eagles, and I think those are two completely different tiers of team, if I'm being honest. So we'll see. But it's a big win for them against the Commanders. I didn't see it, but, I know that their defense had another great game, especially when you hold the team to 10 points.
The defense is playing really, really well. And, when you get a backup in there for an extended period of time, it's just play as vanilla as possible. Don't make the big mistake.
Manage the game, yeah.
Right? And sometimes that's good enough. I mean, if you're not playing elite teams, you can usually get away with that shit.
Yeah, no, you can. And I mean,
this is far from
not an elite.
Far from elite.
This is not an elite team. Hey, I'll tell you what, though. When I saw some of the highlights, I didn't know who that team was. I was like, who the fuck is the team in the black? Whose uniform is that? I was like,
up front. I
just
like that uniform.
I was like, who's in the black? That shit look hot.
If you just get rid of the fucking W, you could have something.
Yeah, that W. I mean, the W's fine, but it's just like, just the name is so stupid. It's like Commanders, the commies. Like, why don't they just be the Washington? I mean, now I feel like they should just be the Washington football team. That's way better.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's
I mean,
whatever.
what could your logo even be? I mean, the hammer and sickle's taken.
I know, right? Can't even use those. Were trademarked, actually. Can't use it. But Cowboys, big win for them. I'm not sure who they have next week. You know?
We have the Rams at Rams.
Ooh,
so
yeah,
I kind of needed this one.
That's probably going to be an L. This is your feel-good win before the storm.
Because we go to at Rams, at Eagles, and we got Detroit, Chicago, bye, at Green Bay, at Minnesota.
Bruh, there's only
Indy,
one. There's only
Houston,
in the next 5 games for the Cowboys. There's only one. There's only one like gimme there.
Well, we got the NFC North, so I think we can probably get 2 from them. Yeah, I think we can get 2 off the NFC North. Maybe even 3, depending on how we do that Vikings game. But it's a soft schedule.
I mean, no, y'all's next 4 games.
But the next 2,
3.
The next 2 are monsters.
Yeah, the next 2 are monsters. Then you get a soft one. Then you got 2 more tough ones after that. After the bye,
not what it used to be.
Detroit is going to be a tough game. That's going to be a tough 4-quarter game. You're going to have to beat them like you're going to have to win that all the way through. You can't. Ain't no stopping against them.
Yeah, that thing gonna be physical, like Olivia Newton-John.
and that brings us to that game. Seahawks in Detroit. You know, it's like we're waiting for it. You know, we're waiting for that. We're waiting for it. Like Detroit is right there. You're right there. Like you're right there. Get over it. Like they're right at the point of getting over the hump. And this should have been it should have started their win streak. This should have been their second in a row.
I thought they had this one. They probably should have had this one.
Yeah, I think they should have. I mean,
it's
look,
tough if you're going to lose these type of games. It's hard to get on a roll when you're losing games that are close. Man,
Geno Smith had one of those games. Yeah,
he pulled that out of his ass.
Geno Smith had one of those games where, I mean, the dude had the best quarterback rating in the league in week 4. Best quarterback rating, best QBR, and best rating.
Yeah.
Out of all the quarterbacks in the NFL.
I think he had an out-of-body experience.
Yeah, that's what I believe. But also, Detroit secondary gives up hella fucking points. They do. They've been giving up hella points all season. But this was the highest scoring game of the weekend. And even at that, even with this, I mean, because that's, and you know, it sucks because it feels like Detroit as a culture, they finally figured out who they are. They have finally given themselves an identity. They've given themselves a total vision. And, you know, they just now they just need both sides of the ball to synchronize in their performance because they put up 45 points. You should win.
At any level.
That's how I feel. At any level, college or professional.
You're supposed to win
you put up 45 points, you're supposed to win. And, I mean, if you ask me which team was more likely to put up 40 points, I wouldn't have said the Seahawks. I would have said the Lions because they've been doing that. The Seahawks don't look like they can score, but Geno Smith has this out-of-nowhere game. I don't think that that's going to be the norm for them, and I would think, and I'm hoping Seattle's not. I hope they don't take that bait and offer him some kind of deal because, that'll be a mistake like a motherfucker.
He just turns into an all-pro player from nowhere.
You know what I mean? Out of nowhere for after what 10 years in the league. Now you want to be good.
Shouldn't have left you.
But Detroit is. You know what? I still feel like they're right there.
I think they're onto something. I really do.
They're onto something. Yes.
But
they couldn't pull it out in this one. So, all right. Next up here, we got New York pulling out the ugly win against Chicago. Man, Justin Fields is not that guy, huh?
Yeah, I don't think anyone cares about this guy.
Ooh, that was not the pick I thought it was going to be so far. He is bordering on a bust right now. But again, there's a caveat to that must be understood. He's bordering on bust partially because you have a completely incompetent franchise that you're playing for.
Yes. Like, no one can go in there and
nobody would be doing well under the current circumstances.
Who are the other quarterbacks
whether
in his
rookies, whether quarterbacks in your class or veterans, none of them would be
right.
doing well right now.
Yeah,
because this franchise,
anyone short of Aaron Rodgers isn't going to go in there and have success.
Make anything happen.
Sure he would.
Only Aaron Rodgers couldn't even. I don't even think Aaron Rodgers could get them to 500 with that offensive line they got. It wouldn't happen. No
offensive line. No. Oh shit. I'm sorry. Streaker, not a streaker, but someone just ran on the field at the Rams game with like a smoke flare.
Oh wow.
That's a big security issue.
Can't have nice things, huh?
And got laid out by a couple players.
A player? Tell me a player did it.
Hold on. Let me see if I can get a name.
I remember watching that happen on the field. We were playing against. Who were we playing against? We were playing against somebody, and one of the Jags fans jumped out of the end zone, came running on the field.
Oh, he got laid out too.
And it was our safety. I think it was one of our safeties. It was LaRon. Was it LaRon Landry? It was his brother, not Lauren Landry, his other brother that played for Baltimore. I forget his name, but Landry.
I remember them.
He laid this motherfucker out. Standing there watching, wow.
One cat was trying to grab him, and the other dude just laid him out.
Laid him out. Hold him up, and I'll finish him off.
Basically. Oh, sorry about that. Just had the game on in the background here. Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I see that every day.
It's all good. Giants beat the Bears. Bears ain't shit. Giants, they're trying.
Whatever.
They're trying.
They're going to ruin Justin Fields.
Hey, they're 3-1. The Giants are 3-1 now. Don't get it twisted. I mean, Bears suck, but they're still 3-1.
I mean, still an NFL team. It's hard to get
still
wins.
Still an NFL team.
Take them wherever you can get them. But now, I'm really worried for Justin Fields.
Yeah, Justin Fields is definitely he is in a very precarious situation as a quarterback in a system that is in a franchise that isn't even trying. It appears as if they're not even trying. So, but here's another franchise who appears to kind of be, I mean, both these franchises, if I'm being honest, seem a little bit lost, and they ended up playing each other, which, of course,
they're like the same team, basically.
Yeah, these are like the same teams playing each other, so it doesn't really matter that Arizona won 26-16. Arizona doesn't look like a good team at all. They don't look like a team that can compete with the good teams in the NFL on, their worst day if they don't have Kyler Murray in there. They would be winless if they didn't have Kyler Murray. The Panthers, on the other hand,
from D-Hop back.
Yeah, D-Hop will be back soon.
I don't think that makes him like a playoff contender or nothing, but
it gives him an option. It gives him an actual option at wideout because he ain't really got one.
It's a Rondale Moore.
But on the other side of that, the Panthers, I mean, what is there to say about this franchise at this point? Find a way to fire your coach because
for cause and save yourself some money.
And save yourself some money somehow, get some blackmail on him or something because
there's got to be some emails.
You know what I mean?
Everybody's got emails.
Everybody's got emails. But this is like a shitty team in Carolina. And Baker Mayfield did nothing to change that. And now they're considering going to Sam Darnold. Which, like I said, and like we've been saying here for the past few weeks, Baker Mayfield is on a fast-track course to being a backup quarterback for the rest of his career. And look, that's not such a bad thing to be, but for what he was in terms of the draft, number 1 overall pick, within 5 years, you're a backup. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good at all. Sam Darnold will probably be the starter this week coming up. Damn, how dumb do you got to be if you're the Panthers general manager to take on 2 quarterbacks who were top 3 picks or in the previous few years and try to make them a project of some sort, to make them a viable quarterback after they've already shown you they're garbage. I would fire the GM.
That's the NFL. I can get it out of him. I know what these guys don't.
I can fix them.
That's what they all think.
Yeah, Matt Rule is not. I mean, look, again, it really boils down to the fact that you cannot be so naive as an NFL owner to think that a good college coach would make a good NFL coach. But we have a couple that are.
I mean,
and they both
There's outliers.
I mean, and it's happened on numerous occasions, and that's part of why the general perspective is that you don't bring a college coach as a head coach to the NFL as a head coach. That's not the same job. That's a different job. And he's not going to be, and a lot of them aren't used to being in a position, even with the power that you have as a head coach. You still aren't as valuable as the players on that field. And the owners and the general manager, they know it and will remind you. So you don't have any say over what they do.
It's my way or the highway.
You don't have any control over them. It's the general manager really has more weight that he pulls than the head coach. So it's not a matter of you being able to just set your regime in place and everybody listens to what you say. It ain't gonna happen. But you have to be actively involved in the planning and the direct knowledge of the game itself, which a lot of them don't have. They don't know the game the way that they should as a head coach. And when you bring that over, which is what Matt Rule did, I mean, year one, he looked like he was completely lost.
You need to climb the ranks.
You need to climb the ranks. You need a coach,
put in the work.
Coach, then a coordinator, then maybe a head coach. But usually, you have to show some real gusto as a coordinator to be given that. Usually, get that opportunity as head coach. So, well, we'll see how it happens with
immediate success going from a head coach.
Not very many.
Position. I can't think of too many that came straight over and were like immediately good.
No, not very many. Not very many. It's usually not even their first rodeo when they are good at coaching in the NFL. It's usually when they usually rotate back in. They go back to college again and they come back, or they just rotate from team to team to team, and then they finally get a coordinator position. So then they start to be able to, show what they've learned over the years and how their own systems come together. But no,
this guy didn't even get a natty. Pete Carroll, Jimmy Johnson, those guys. I mean, Pete Carroll went back and forth a few times.
Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy Johnson at least had, great teams.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson was, Jimmy Johnson was in a different time. And his time, because he played or because he coached, University of Miami, and he also, he was
at Oklahoma State before that. He was at Oklahoma State.
Yeah, he was at Oklahoma State before that. So he had already had some experience, a lot of success. And he had great timing because he left to go to Dallas and he became the Dallas Cowboys head coach at the time when all the players he coached in Miami were coming out of college.
It doesn't hurt if your best friend is the owner.
Yeah. The boys are back in town.
Yeah, he caught lightning in a bottle.
He just got the band back together in Dallas. They got some Super Bowls. Shoot. But yeah, so last game up here is playing right now. You got the Rams, who are actually losing to the 49ers. Jimmy G and Jimmy G, the Niners trust, because that's how it's going to be forever and always. But that's us going through the scores. That's us giving you our thoughts. We do have one final little story to talk about here tonight before we move on, before we end the show. And that's Brittney Griner. So Brittney Griner has an appeal for her sentencing of her 9 years that she got in a Russian prison for, I guess, having some weed. So ESPN's reporting Russian court on Monday set October 25th as the date for Brittney Griner's appeal for a 9-year prison sentence for drug possession. Why is this noteworthy? At the end of the day, I guess, this whole prisoner swap that they were supposed to do, it looks like it appears to have fallen through. So now she has to go through the regular channels of the system in Russia to try and find out if there's a way to maybe minimize or maybe overturn this conviction she had. But also,
maybe you can trade for a lesser offender. You know, if
yeah,
she gets reduced, because they were trying to get like a real menace to society.
Yes, that's the thing. Like she was sentenced as if it was like she was trafficking drugs. She wasn't sentenced as if she was just in possession. And that's kind of where that whole thing fell apart, or kind of was built up to to convict her and put her in prison. Obviously, the situation between Russia and the United States from a geopolitical standpoint is not good at all. So they could give zero fucks, and that likely had something to do with why she was sentenced the way she was. I don't think anybody would deny that, because it makes for big news in the United States. That's how they're gonna look at it, and it'll be something that can help them vilify the Western society, because this is a person who comes into their country and breaks the law. So we're going to give them maximum punishment. But we do, this is just an update. We do want to, see this resolved in a way that gets her back into the U.S. at some point. Not 10 years from now, but at some point, so she can at least try to get back to her career. It's in some way, because look, man, and it. She's not going to be training. She's not going to be training like she could. She's probably, who knows? Because at the end of the day, they could be like, hey, she's a fucking like pro basketball player. Let's start a prison league. And, she can get paid off that, or at least get her workout in. But they're not going to be giving her the same. She's not going to have any of the luxuries that you would have as a regular individual, being able to work out and train. So she's going to start to lose those skills as a basketball player. They're going to start to go away. And it's not like she can't, she can recover them, but it would take a lot more to recover them if you ain't done it in years than you think, so.
Hey, I can't teach 6'8" or whatever she is.
Yeah. What I mean? That'll help her.
She's something like
always.
That. Yeah, but like you said, she's no spring chicken either.
She ain't no spring chicken. And I know she was making some good money when she was playing in Russia during their off seasons, but now you're in a position where you're not even getting to do anything with basketball, and you're not getting fed the right way as an athlete to be able to maintain the body and maintain the integrity of the muscles. So it's gonna be rough. This will end her career if she has to serve 9 years. But every week that you don't get to train the way you train, that does diminish your ability somewhat. I remember we would have off week. You have the bye week. Well, the coaches still make us practice on Monday and Wednesday and Thursday. Because if we let these motherfuckers go buck wild for a week, you know what's going to happen? We're going to get our ass kicked the next game.
A week full of Hennessy and
you know what I mean? Motherfuckers jumping on planes and they out of here as soon as the bye week start, partying, right? And then you
burning that midnight oil
one day. Every night. You ain't trained not one day. You come back 9 pounds heavier than you were when you left.
Training them hips.
That's it. Just thrust. That's all I can do, coach. But shoot, it's you can lose that skill if you ain't working it. Because I know when we came back, we went 2 days without practice. 2 days, 3 days. We came back to practice, man. I was like, shit, I can't breathe. I'm struggling. I ain't even go nowhere this time. Fuck.
Like I was doing the right thing.
Yeah, you can't even just sit around the crib. You got to go get a workout in, even though you're off. Or your body will start to revert to just losing that strength, losing the building up all that lactic acid, everything. So, it affects you. It'll affect her. So we hope she gets out. We hope she gets an opportunity to get out to resume her career, but we'll see, as that time moves forward. So that is going to be it for us here on Lineman Life Live. We appreciate you guys for being here with us. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't already done so. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And keep up with. You can also keep up with us on TikTok at Lineman Life on TikTok also. So make sure you guys check it out. There should be some videos dropping tomorrow from the live stream. So make sure you hit that bell notification so you can get notified about that as well. But we appreciate y'all. We will see y'all on Wednesday. Wednesday, of course, we'll be doing our predictions with Urinating Tree and 5 points. Again, I know I've been saying it the past 2 weeks, but we hope to have Dave Richard on here with us for the fantasy football stuff. We will do fantasy football on Wednesday. So hold me to that. But we appreciate you guys. We will see you all on the next one. Peace out.
Peace.